Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's weekly market check-in with myself, Greta Wall, and the leader of T3 Live's Momentum Express virtual trading floor, JR Romero. As always, JR, thanks for doing this today. How's your day going so far?
So far so good. A little bit of a boring market here. I think we're going to have a very range-bound and choppy market for the rest of the week. So we're trading the ranges. We're being very discriminatory in terms of what we take, and doing okay. No complaints.
Great. All right, so I want to talk to you about Reddit. So that Reddit is, of course, a stock now that IPO'd last Thursday, and was on a major run until today. The stock is down about 13% so far in today's session. So I just want to get your thoughts on the action so far. Maybe we can take a look at the chart and you can analyze what we're seeing. Do you think, we've hit the top? Is there more to go? What are you seeing on Reddit yourself? So I'll go ahead and pull your chart.
Yeah. Well, so when Reddit opened, I jokingly told my room, I wish I could get a borrow because this piece of garbage is going to zero. And that day, it went from 57 to 46. And then, formed a shallow reversal wedge and gave you a full extension to $70, which was our target there. Upside target after the wedge break, that is. I don't really, this name to me seems like it's going to be a very rough go. It's trading at 4P is 91. It's 85% insider owned, and they're coming out with a market cap of $9 billion on $804 million in sales. I don't see this becoming the next LinkedIn. I think this is going to go the way of Pinterest and friends. So,
would you compare the action that we've been seeing in Reddit, the excitement over this stock, to some of the meme stock craze that we saw back in 2020 and 2021 with, GameStop, for example?
It's too early to say. People often conflate the importance of a company to the internet with the value of the stock. Like Twitter, for example, Elon paid 42 or 44 billion for Twitter. It's a company that never figured out how to monetize its business and make it successful and profitable. I think Reddit falls very much under that category. Very important to the internet. Whether it's going to be able to make any money remains to be seen.
All right. Let's get into some trades that you've been doing in your room this week. You have been very active in Tesla over the past few weeks, but looking in the room, I can see that has been another week of trading Tesla for you and your room. So talk about how you've been trading Tesla this week. Have you been on the short side, the long side? What did you see in the chart that made you do what? Let's walk through the trade.
Yeah, Tesla, we've just been playing the key levels. So, pull back to we played the long side yesterday on the opening range breakout into 182.25. We had ads at 181.37 and 181.40 there, and sold it right at the top, 184.25. Primarily because Tesla, that was the top of the 260-minute 200 moving average and the top of the 60-minute Bollinger Band. So once Tesla hits typically those two things, you're looking at a pullback off of an oversold, overextended condition. So we called the perfect top there on Tesla yesterday, and today we're not really doing a whole lot. This market's been really mediocre, but we called the long here. You have an inverse head and shoulders, a neckline break, and we called the long right there to the 2-minute 200 at 179.40. So nice little scalp there as well on Tesla. Some people in our room were fading the move this morning off the upper band. So Tesla opened, could not get through the prior upper band and through the last pivot high at 181.98 and shorted it right through prior day lows. So we got some nice ideas percolating in the room on Tesla for sure.
All right. Last time you and I talked was on Fed Day. We talked just like about 2-ish hours before the Fed decision came out. And so everything we were talking about was kind of hypothetical on what you would do if A, then B, etc. We got a much more dovish dot plot than a lot of people I think were expecting. The Fed's still planning for 3 rate cuts in 2024. Some were expecting to go down to 2. And then we got a much more dovish Powell press conference than I think anyone was expecting from him. You said ahead of the meeting that you planned to trade aggressively whichever direction seemed appropriate after the dot plot. So talk about how you navigated Fed Day post-decision during the press conference and post the press conference when we got that huge rally in the market.
Yeah, so we read the market really well that day. That was last week, right? Yeah. So
last Wednesday.
Yeah. So we navigated it really, really well. So it was Wednesday the 20th. Yeah. So it was right here. So we obviously off the initial news, we went long. Hard long on the S&Ps and Tesla. Some people were trading NVIDIA right into the 52.64. We call the top of 52.64, and then called the pullback to 52.40. That was I believe our pullback there on the S&Ps, and then basically we waited to see what Powell would say. Powell doesn't usually speak a lot of English at these things. There's a mix of Swahili and Powellese that you need a team of UN interpreters for with headsets on and smoke signals and carrier pigeons and whatever else. And in this case, he was really straightforward. But more importantly, he was very confident in his answers. He was not wavering. He wasn't pusillanimous in terms of being circuitous and circumventing around an answer. He was very straightforward. Even the questions like Steve Leisman's and Nick Timoros's questions, he was very straightforward in his answer and didn't really tap dance around too much. So I think that his tone alone and his directness, I think, did a lot to help the markets in terms of a sense of confidence. So once the S&Ps took out 52.64, I called for hard long in the market, and our upside targets were 52.91 and 52.96, and we ended up getting both those targets there, S&P targets on the long. Just took a while.
Since that Fed decision, that big rally on Wednesday, we did hit new record highs, and then we've been down for 3 sessions in a row with the S&P 500, Friday, Monday, and yesterday. How would you explain the consolidation maybe that we've seen since that Fed decision, given that it was very much what the market wanted to hear?
Yeah, I mean, so we made the SPX made new highs, and let me just bring up my SPX chart here. So the SPX made new highs, new closing highs, and you can see here if you look at my chart, when you're making new highs with a clear oscillator volume divergence, you start to see a bigger chance that there's going to be a pullback on the move, some kind of digestive pullback. And that's all we're seeing. I mean, there's nothing broken with this chart. You can see here we're pulling back on lower volume, okay, and these are narrow, not wide candles as we digest, and we're still within this channel. So this is still, my opinion, as bullish as it gets. There's not a lot to really fret about. It's just, I think, we're probably going to go into the end of March and into the PC with this kind of price action. I already told the room this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the weekly expected move is under a percentage point in terms of what the options market was pricing in. So not a lot of volatility expected. So we're adjusting. We're trading the ranges, trading minor continuation setups, and not putting a whole lot of credence into major breakouts. The one exception I'll make for that is crypto, because that crazy caffeine-addled asset class, it just goes to the beat of its own drum. But yeah.
Have you been trading any crypto-related stocks or any crypto yourself during this time?
We trade Coinbase all the time. Today I gave CLSK a shot, which looked really good, and unfortunately, I got stopped out early in the session. You had a beautiful inside bar breakout ready to go here. The pattern was perfect. Crypto, Bitcoin was over 70,000. I was expecting this, we call it 1, 2, 3 type of setup. I was expecting it to go, took a very small stop on it, and that's why we tier in slowly into trades. We don't overcommit, and quickly made it up with other winning trades today. So not a big deal, but yeah, crypto, I think very, very, very high degree likelihood of crypto. Bitcoin sees 100,000 before the end of the year.
All right. I do want to get your opinion on something kind of specific, or not specific, but unique. I know that you yourself, you pay a lot closer attention to other markets besides just the equities and how they connect to the equities. And so one of those markets that's been in focus this week is cocoa, with cocoa prices hitting $10,000 per metric ton for the first time ever. Do you have any opinion on the surge in cocoa prices? Maybe we can look at the chart and see what it's showing. Does this continue? Is this just, something weird? The supply and demand, of course, we're a supply and demand trader. So
I'm fighting the urge to make a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, and it comes right before Easter, so
Yeah, exactly. It's a convergence of dad jokes waiting to happen there. So yeah, cocoa futures. I don't have the right ticker symbol here. Eddie just sent me them. One of our moderator just sent me the chart yesterday. Cocoa looks insane. I don't trade this at all. I know coffee, cocoa, these tend to sometimes just go absolutely crazy. I don't really have any comments on it. I don't really trade this asset class. It's cocoa. I don't really. I'm sorry. I wish I had something. I think this was there. It is.
There it is.
This was it like a regional climate issue in Central America, right?
Probably. Yeah, difficult weather conditions and disease have affected production in West Africa, and they produce 70% of the world's cocoa.
Yeah, I mean it's a crazy looking chart. I did pay like $12 for a Toblerone bar, so I feel marginally invested. But I mean, other than that, it's a little outside my wheelhouse.
All right. For everyone who's here with us live, I just want to give everyone a reminder. If you have any questions for JR, any specific charts, any specific setups you want him to look at and analyze, go ahead and submit those now so we can make sure we get to them. Okay, so JR, it's been a much more quiet week this week so far. We're 3 or 2.5 sessions in, but really we only have 1 day left after today because it is a short week. In these weeks where you don't have the volatility, you don't have the major things happening to give you big trades, how are you mentally keeping yourself in check to not be chasing trades during these quieter times?
Just know your levels. I cultivate a very strong ethos and culture for traders to really think like merchants, understand where, whatever instrument you're watching is going to be able to catch a bid, where it's not, where it's if you're trading a range bound market, where the bottom of value is. So we were all over Tesla today around 178, thinking it would give you a two-wave corrective higher, for example. Now, do I love trading in this environment? No, right? This is not my cup of tea. But if you were buying Tesla around 178, 170 and a quarter today, you can see it kept bouncing, and moving higher. So understanding levels where you're most likely going to catch a bid, hold the level, really, really important. And just remembering that you're in a range bound market ahead of a short week into a PCE reading and Powell speaking this week. There's just a whole lot of reticence. We got put walls and call walls on either side of the market, and the likelihood that we break in either direction off this 1% deviation is not likely. So if you don't like trading range bound markets, just sitting on your hands, reading a good book. I don't know. It really is a very challenging environment for the next couple of weeks. But I always tell my people, guys, nothing in the market stays the same. Get ready for a choppy week, but April's coming around the corner, and that tends to be a very good month. Mm-hmm. So keep your powder dry. If you're going to trade the ranges, trade the ranges. We've made good money today doing that. We had people shorting NVIDIA, actually, the breakdown in NVIDIA around, I think, 9:30 for a move into the 890s. So, we even within these ranges, there's still good moves happening,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With April coming comes a whole nother earnings season. We just pretty much got through the fourth quarter earnings season, and now we're coming up on Q1 earnings season in just about 2 weeks. What is your focus for this next earnings season? Is it any different than how you were navigating the last earnings season? Talk about it.
Yeah. So I think the S&Ps are trading at like 23 and a quarter. Right. I think that's our general PE for the market. And so we're getting to a valuation where earnings are hyper important. And if we start to see earnings contractions in the big moat type names in the market, specifically the NASDAQ generals and some of the big industrials, is going to be an impossible burden for the market to carry.
Do you think there's more pressure on companies to really not just meet expectations this time around, but really blow past expectations to get any further moves higher, with everything being so high at this point?
It depends on early earnings leadership and where the bar is set. That would be my guess.
Mm-hmm. What are your favorite earnings plays? Like what sectors do you like to trade in? Do you like to, take options heading into earnings? Do you like to take equities? Like, what do you like to do yourself, or do you like to, wait, analyze after, and get into a trade afterwards?
It's a great question. Fresh Pet was my big earnings winner, FRPT, which we were already in a swing on this one into earnings. Right there, let me delete this. So we had bought it through $85, held it through earnings, and just had a major earnings winner here. But this is unusual. I felt really confident in the name. Typically, what I'll do is I'll wait for the announcement and trade the reaction. Mm-hmm. I don't recommend this for novice traders, but it's a really, really good way many times to be able to capture a lot of points quickly. I have a whole strategy for doing that after the close, and we'll trade Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, all during earnings.
Mhm.
And typically we do really, really well on that. Capture some huge moves.
What is that strategy that you use, if you can expand upon it?
Yeah. So first of all, I look for what the expected move was. And if we go past the expected move, and we're holding the VWAP anchor, I will hit the gas pedal because I will expect buyers to come in and really, really buy it beyond the expected move. And same thing to the short side. So I combine the expected, expected move on the option side with the VWAP anchor on the daily and weekly. Give me a really good idea of what's most likely to happen. And then I do a whole lot of real-time tape reading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you typically active in the after hours session, like on a normal basis, or is it only during earnings season?
Well, during earnings season, I'm really active. Here, if something important has happened in the market, right? Like for example, we've been consolidating for 3 weeks. We had a major shakeout the day before, and we finish on the 15-minute. The S&Ps, the Nasdaq are all wedging, and then we have a nice breakaway gap out of a tight consolidation. I'll go on a shopping spree, right? I'll buy 5, 10 names because I believe there's a really good chance that we're going to trend higher all day. The market's getting ready to break out, and I'll really put a lot of risk on. So the pre-market is really helpful in terms of that. Maybe start building some positions. But other than that, I wait for the open.
All right, great.
Just depends on the day.
This Friday, with the market being closed, but some important data coming out, the PCE price index will be out Friday morning. That's the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. And then, as you mentioned earlier, Powell himself will be speaking on Friday with the market closed. Are you expecting any kind of delayed reaction on Monday, or it just kind of depends how it goes? If everything's kind of in line with expectations, we just move on. Or if things are either, super hot or super cool, then we'll get that Monday reaction. What are you expecting?
Yeah. So the previous PCE was 0.4% month over month, and consensus is 0.3. I'm expecting that to come in line. Personal income month over month was 1%. Consensus this time is 0.4%. So, and personal spending came in at 0.2%. Consensus is 0.5%. So, I think if anything, if we get a core PCE surprise, that could definitely affect the market on Monday. But we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we talked about Tesla that you guys have done in the room this week, but let's go through some other big trades for you guys this week. You said you've had success trading these ranges, even though it's a little bit less exciting than when we're in a really volatile market. You are still finding success out there. So talk me through like your top 3 so far this week, the setup that you were monitoring to get into that trade, how you traded the range, etc.
Yeah. So this was AMD yesterday. Super nice V bottom flag pop. We traded this really actively and really well yesterday. This whole sequence here was good. Also very active on AMD on Monday. Again, I really like these setups because you get a shakeout off of a prior major demand zone, and then the pullback holds the prior pivot. So, these types of piercing reversals where you're early in the session piercing lower and then reversing into the range. I know Scott Redler likes these a lot. We were all over AMD on Monday and yesterday as well. Today, I was looking for AMD to do the same thing. Took a small long here, 20% tier. It failed, and then on the failure, I actually shorted it through the lows, cut a nice chunky short. So, again, these are not beautiful trending 20, 30 point moves that we typically like to catch in the market, but in a really slow week with not a lot of dynamic price action, you're bringing cash into the account, you're paying the bills, and you're staying green, So
how are you identifying these ranges that you are trading on these names?
Sure. So we use a lot of volume profile and market profile in our analysis. Okay, so this is the volume profile for this range here in AMD, and you can see the bottom of value here is around 177.40. Top of value around 180.150. That's pretty much the range. So any deviation outside that range, the reversals are buyable, right? So buyable, etc. So that's generally the idea. So, so we use market profile as well. Big fans of the market profile. So we're typically looking at TPO charts here. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Hold on. Sorry, live television. What are you going to do?
All good.
Okay. So typically, there it is. If you will.
Yep.
So basically, we're analyzing the general market profile and really looking at where the auction is most likely to go based on where we're trading. So right now, the key level to watch is 53.01, and that just seems to be an absolute Great Wall of China. And then we're looking so far the bottom of value this week, not last week's, around 52.68 to 52.64. So that seems to be the area that so far is being defended. Last week's point of control, 52.52. So we got these key levels here that we're watching. 52.52, 53.01, 52.65, and that really helps us overall guide our bias and understand where supply demand areas are most likely going to be found in a market that obviously is lacking a tremendous amount of lacking volatility in every way and range expansion. So very difficult market.
What do you think it will take to break the market out of this, range bound kind of boring trading, as a lot of people would say, moving forward? We kind of got what we want. The market got what it wanted from the Fed. Does it just take for those cuts to actually start happening until we can get more volatility? What do you think?
Markets correct through time or price. So most likely time. We've got earnings coming up, and the PC on Friday. I suspect that once we get through the PC and Powell, that we're most likely going to increase the pace of price movement. And if we correct, we'll hopefully get a two-wave corrective. If we break out, maybe we get a nice expensive higher. I do believe the market's going to go to 5,400 and 5,700 this year, but we haven't had a proper technical pullback yet. So very difficult to do that.
All right, JR, as we kind of close things here, I know there's not a lot of exciting stuff happening out there, but talk about some of the setups that you are hoping will come to fruition maybe over the end of today, or maybe tomorrow, because tomorrow is our Friday this week, or over the next week after PCE and Powell on Friday. Some of the setups you're looking at on specific names.
Yeah, so I'm watching these storage names.
We can't see your chart. We're still on the TPO chart.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. Sorry. My bad.
All good. I just didn't want you to walk through it and,
yeah, no, it happens in the room all the time. I'll be talking for like 20 minutes and people will be like, you do realize you're muted, right? All right. So storage has been really strong. It's wanting to go. It's wanting to break out of bases. You have STX, WDC, Micron. These are super strong charts. And I think these are consolidating here, digesting the big earnings breakaway gaps, and getting ready for a move higher. So I think that once your SPX, for example, comes into the medium length moving average, your 20 SMA, your 21 EMA, and holds the channel, these storage names are really going to start to move. Again, obviously they've been moving, so those look really good to me.
All right, great. All right, JR, thank you for doing this today. For everyone who's with us live, if you want to go to t3live.com/JRlive, you can get JR's free ebook. Lots of insights in there about who JR is as a trader. His history is very interesting, how he got into trading. So I recommend it. Again, that's t3live.com/JRlive to get JR's free ebook, A Trader's Story. JR, good luck in the rest of your trading today. Everyone else, good luck. And for the end of this week as well. Have a great rest of your day, JR.
Thank you, Greta. Have a great one.